Hello, friends, and welcome again to Wake Up and Dream. And we are excited for this episode, you guys. So, just a little behind the scenes. It's so fun to collaborate with Lisa and Sarah each week to come up with what we're going to chat about. What do we want to inspire our listeners to dream more about, to take that action? So, we had a plan, you guys. We had a plan of what we wanted to talk about next, but then in between, some of our recordings, we just start talking. We start talking about things that are happening in our lives, things that we experienced in our day, and all of a sudden, the 3 of us just got inspired to talk about something kind of cool that all of us are experiencing in real time, but we're all in a different time in our life. So we got really inspired. Sarah was kind of chatting about her day and being at the doctor's office. And then she was listening last night to a recording from our business coach, Julie Ciardi. And she was just, she just kind of voiced about how she feels like I think your brother-in-law, Sarah, I think said something to you about, oh, you're just in a midlife crisis. And Sarah says, it's not a midlife crisis, it's my midlife awakening. And that Lisa and I were just like, oh my gosh, this is so true. And has really impacted all 3 of us. And we just kind of wanted to share with our listeners today. It kind of gives me chills about what that means, a midlife awakening. And we're all different ages. Our kiddos are different ages. We live in different parts of the country, and it affects us as women and as moms. You don't have to feel down. You don't have to feel defeated. You can have that awakening at any time in your life, right, ladies?
Yes, and I love this, and it's funny how it came up, but my brother-in-law made a comment about me dyeing my hair. I put some purple in my hair, so it was kind of like a joke, and I was like, no, it's my midlife awakening. You're crazy, like this is. I feel like I'm in such a different phase in my life, and as I was listening to a recording last night. It kind of helped define the way that I'm feeling and the reason I use the words midlife awakening, because when you think about the way that your life kind of plays out, you go to high school and you graduate high school, so you have that goal. Then you go to college, or like trade school, and you have that goal of completing your certification or your degree. Then you end up, meeting somebody and you get married, and then you have the house thing going on, and then the babies, and you always have a goal or some event that you are working toward until you don't. And then you get to this period in your life where you're like, okay, so I have, I've come to this point in my life having achieved so many amazing things and so many amazing milestones. But now what? And I just feel like that's the point that I got to, where that made me want to explore a little bit more about different things in my life and different things I can create, because there was no longer that like society, quote unquote, the society goal that they kind of map out for you. And I wanted to create something that I wanted to go for and a goal that I wanted to go for. So this is kind of what led me to this midlife awakening aspect. And I'm just rolling with it. So I love that you guys love that quote.
Yes, yes, yes. I not only love the quote, but I think just viewing it differently, you know, when people say a midlife crisis, it's a negative, right? It's like it is like you feel like, oh my gosh, I'm in a crisis, so I have to color my hair or, get a new job or start a new adventure. And really, it's quite the opposite if your mindset is in that positive looking and anticipating and actually asking, what is my purpose? Because that, I think we're goal seeking organisms, we're goal seeking creatures, right? we were it's like we have that inside of us. So when we find ourselves going on autopilot, which I know I did when I was home with my littles. It was like survive the day. That was like exhausting. Not, I mean, fulfilling because that's what I wanted, but not fulfilling because it wasn't what I really, felt like there was more that I could be using, more talents that I had, more gifts, more things for me. And that's honestly where my first awakening, because I think I still have, I've had several, because now my kids are grown or still, almost out of high school and they're all in college. But that's where I found I kind of fell into direct sales because it was like, oh, well, maybe I can learn that, It was that whole idea of trying to grow myself. And I had no idea that direct sales would grow me as much as it did and has, because it was all about, becoming better at sharing your products and, you know, perfecting or working on improving your skills in, presenting things, and how do you talk to people and how do you handle, objections and, yeah, and rejections and all of that. That's all growth, that helps us to feel like we're moving towards a goal.
And now you have a name for that, what you experienced then, right? It wasn't a midlife crisis that brought you down
Exactly.
that path. It was a midlife awakening. And now you said
Exactly.
that there, like in the past year or so, you would say that there was kind of another period of time where you had like almost another awakening.
Yeah, for me, my kids are almost I'm almost an empty nester, and it's so funny because they're like 17, 19, 19, and 22. Yes, I don't stutter. I have twins in the middle. Um, but I thought I've always thought, well, they'd go out of the nest one by one by one by one, and I'd get some adjustment. But I have this feeling that it's gonna be a flock. Like, they're all still under my roof, going to college and staying home, and I just feel like, boom, in one fell swoop, my house is gonna be empty. Like, it's just gonna be hubby and I, and because of that, I'm like, I I wanna always be on the cusp of what is it that I'm here for, right? I wanna have purpose, and so, you know, all 3 of us wore our Ignite shirts today. Woohoo! Because, um, we had a desire to grow ourselves, to figure out what the next goal is, and, our Ignite coaching program that we're all in, that kinda brought us all together, to be honest, is is where I think that awakening to, wow, like, I love my direct sales company and I want to help other people to, um, find success in direct sales, but I also think, is there something more beyond that? And that's where had this awakening to a desire that had not surfaced until I really got quiet, to really, open a retreat center one day. And that's on my goal list now.
I
I want to
love
open.
that, Lisa. I didn't know
Mhm.
that was one of the things that you were striving for.
Yeah,
That's
that is
amazing.
totally it's so in alignment with like my core purpose and passion to help women get away, even if it's 3, 4 days, to like allow all the to-dos to just fall away, get quiet, unpack, and allow ourselves to listen to our desires so that they can surface, so that we can figure out, what is it that's holding me back from going after my dreams, and what do I really want?
And like,
So,
if you think about the alternative, though, like I love all of these things that you're bringing up, Lisa, but I feel like it makes me want to even more so help other people find that next goal of theirs. because what's the alternative then for them? And that's where that like, negative piece comes in, and people say like this midlife crisis concept, because people don't really know what their next thing is. You don't need to live like that. You can have this midlife awakening. You can have that next big goal on your list. And you can dream and create something like that incredible. I can't wait for that to all unfold, Lisa.
Well, and don't you think we women we operate so heavily on our to-do list and our conscious brain that we're not even tapping into the biggest part of our brain is our subconscious, and that's where our dreams live. That's where, we get in touch with our feelings and our desires and our purpose and our passion. It's not necessarily in our conscious brain, it's deep in our subconscious. And if we don't allow ourselves to stop the spin of our conscious, we don't ever know what that purpose is. And so that's the purpose behind these retreats that I have in my mind, to really offer women a chance to just get quiet and really get in touch with their heart.
Oh, I just love that. I will be the first one to sign up and go.
We're going to Wisconsin, Kelly.
That's right. We're going. That would be so amazing. I think that's so wonderful for women to, find that purpose. What is it that drives you, that awakens you? I just feel like it, and it doesn't have to be a business, right? It doesn't have to be starting a network business or, you know, applying for a different job or working outside the home, or like it can be a hobby. It can be, gosh, I mean, I have this desire in my heart to write a book one day, like that. I'm just trying to find out your passions of what would make you feel whole again. I feel I'm not probably not alone with, like, I loved being a stay-at-home mom, and that was something I have wanted to do since I was probably 18 years old, knowing that I wanted to do everything I could to be there and be home. But I was telling Sarah and Lisa, you guys, that before we started recording, was my awakening moment was when Jace, our little guy, finally went to full-time school every day. So it wasn't me in the middle of the day picking him up at preschool anymore. It was literally he was gone all day. And what do I do? What do I do now? And it was kind of that like, well, what brings me joy? What do I like to do? Is it playing tennis, playing volleyball, writing, journaling? Is it finding a job? Is it finding more of a community, a Bible study? So it's like, I want to encourage our listeners to, like Lisa was saying about a retreat, getting quiet, finding and making that time. You guys, everybody has the same 24 hours in the day, but it is so important for your soul and your well-being and the people around you to truly be who you were meant to be. And you have to start somewhere. I mean, some of you listeners may know, if you've listened a little bit, like I dealt with infertility and depression came into play, and I didn't know who I was. Because when you go through infertility, you will never be that person that you started as. You have gone through pain and trauma and disappointment and sadness. You'll never be that person again, but you can become someone really amazing where people can see you vibrating at a different level, and you are giving off this sunshine and just confidence. And that's what's so important, but it doesn't happen overnight. It is, a process, and just being open to that and getting quiet to what's next. What is the new midlife awakening moment? I think is just so important for our souls to be the wife, to be the mom that we are meant to be.
Yeah, and I really encourage our listeners, everybody, to do that, to get quiet and think about it. And I feel like if you reframe this thought, like I'm at this point in my life where it's a midlife crisis, and that gets thrown around, and reframe that and just start thinking about your purpose and what you want to do, what you want to create, what is something that you love to do. Like honestly, I'm a scrapbooker. I have a lot of things behind me right now that has been collecting dust because that's not a priority for me at this point in my life, but that might come back into play too. And it's really just about like figuring out like where are your passions and what do you want to do, and allowing it. And if those like thoughts creep up that it's like, oh, you're going through a midlife crisis, throw that out the window. It's an awakening. You're aware of the next things that you want to do. And that's really an amazing awareness.
Yes, so, so true. And I think the key is to slow down the thinking mind and really like get in touch with our hearts, our desires, our feelings. Um, you said, "Hey, we're all going to Wisconsin for my first retreat." Well, my retreat center is not in Wisconsin.
Where is
in
it?
my in my mind, it is on the ocean. It's on the
Amazing.
ocean,
Even better.
right?
Even better. We are in.
Vacation.
Well, here's my evolution in that quiet with this retreat center. I started to get quiet a year ago when I just started guided meditation and just honoring myself in saying, not what should I want? What what do I really want? What do I want? Not what other people may would think I should want, but what do I want? And I've always wanted a house on a lake. That's always been on my dream board. And as I got quiet and I started asking the Lord, like, this is wonderful, this is fabulous, but is there more? And as I got quiet and I was like, well, why stop at a lake? Like, let's go big. Let's go ocean, right? So then my house became an oceanfront house in my desires. I was like, oh my gosh, I can see it. The waves crashing, the kids bringing the grandkids. We're having a blast on the beach. But the more I sat with it, because that's the beauty of like a practice of getting quiet, just not a one-time wonder. And I think that's what the retreat center atmosphere would be. It would be that continuous day in and day out quiet time, along with obviously good food and good teachings. But then as I asked myself and asked the Lord, like, so a big house on a ocean, it's gonna cost a fortune. Like, well, this is dreaming without limits, right? But, like, how often would we be there? Is this our permanent house? Is this, like, just where we go for, a couple times during the summer? What do we do with it on the other, times of the year? It just didn't seem like it was in my mind, in my heart, like it didn't resonate. It just seemed like, oh, I don't know if I want to spend that much money on something that we're just going to use a couple times a year. And as I got quiet to ask, so is there more? The idea of a retreat center surfaced. Like it may be a house that we use for our family vacations and all the things, but on other times, it's going to be used to bless and encourage women, particularly, to dream, to get in touch with what's really important inside their soul.
Now, Lisa, you just did like a smaller team retreat recently, right? Where you
Yes.
guys went away and you did some of this work. Like, how did you get a lot of like inspiration from that experience? And did it help, you know, I don't know, solidify some of these dreams and some of these thoughts that you've been having?
Yeah, yeah, for sure. We did just a weekend in Wisconsin, mind you. Um, but the the idea was, to allow people to have the freedom to get quiet, however that is, if that's taking a walk, if that was sitting in the hot tub, if that was, hiding in the corner journaling, all of that was a part of the experience. And then we did this beautiful soul care activity in the middle of on Saturday night, and we painted, and it was just like, it was like so freeing because there was no right or wrong way to do this. So it wasn't like my perfectionism didn't come out. It was just the experience of being together and creating something beautiful. Um, so yeah, total inspiration.
I absolutely love that. Well, I hope that this episode inspires you to just take a look at where you are right now, what your next goal is. I feel like a key takeaway is really just to never stop going for a goal, no matter what that goal looks like, whether it's writing a book, whether it's, starting a new job and just showing up as the leader that you are, or, having a new leader on your network marketing team, or to just crush the next PTA meeting and like show up for your children in that capacity. Whatever that goal is, we are, as Lisa said, goal striving organisms, and we need that we need that big goal to go after. So hopefully this episode has inspired you to do just that. Take some time for yourself, go on a walk, and think about what you really want. I feel like that will really be an incredible exercise for everyone. And I might do that too right after this. So if you'd like to follow us, please check us out on Instagram. We're at Wake Up and Dream Podcast. We will include this quote, my quote actually, in the show notes as well. So go to the show notes, check out the quote for today, and you'll also see how you can connect with Lisa, Kelly, and myself. And we hope that you guys reach out. We love to connect with our listeners. So have a great, great week, and we will see you back here next week.